Welcome to the Home and Hustle podcast. If you're balancing a home, family, work, maybe even a business, and still feel like you're constantly trying to keep up, you're in the right place. I'm Emily. Let's get into it. Hi, and welcome back to the Home and Hustle podcast. I'm Emily. Thank you so much for being here. I am doing episode 6 of the Home and Hustle podcast, and we are going to round out our Hawaii adventure series. Well, not the whole thing, because there's a lot to say, but all about how to get your dogs to Hawaii, okay? So I spent the first episode, which would have been 3, talking about how we got here, saying yes to all the things, even in the hard, even in the we don't know, even in the could this actually be our lives, and all of that, saying yes, yes, and yes, and just making it happen, figuring it out, right? So that was my episode 3. Episode 4 was all about how we booked the reservations to get our dogs on the plane to Hawaii, as well as the tactical process for getting your dog here, the FAVN, the USDA Health Certificate, when you need your rabies vaccines done, getting the AQS 279 forms here before 10 days before you arrive, all the things. So if you're a process person or curious about that, go back and listen to episode 4. Episode 5 was all about why you should not work with blue collar pet transport specifically to get your dogs to Hawaii. They may be great at other things. Getting my dogs to Hawaii, they failed at miserably. So if you are curious about all the tea related to blue collar pet transport and our interaction with them, go back and listen to the last episode 5, and I go through contracts, all of the details, flags we should have noticed up front, but we just didn't because we didn't know what we didn't know, and how I just did it. And when I just stopped the asking, and this is going to sound so toxic because I am a Enneagram type 3. I am a perfectionist, and I had asked for help, which is a big deal for me. And then to still have to do it, it just kind of reinforces the, why do I ask for help? I should just do it. And that is not the answer. That's not the answer for everything. Okay. So hear me, moms, corporate business women, men who are just trying to work and provide for your families and go to the gym and do all the things. Like, if you hear me, doing it all is not the answer. But in this case, I was left with no choice but to put on my project manager hat, put on my leadership hat, and just get shit done. We had places to be, quite literally. Okay. Today, I'm going to round out the pet series, and I'm going to talk all about these kennels. So apologies for this room. This is in our rental, and while we're here, and it's a rental. So, but behind me are our 2 kennels that we brought both of our dogs here. And this is what I'm going to talk about today. There are kennel requirements for the airlines to get your dogs here. Now, if your dog is a tiny dog, something super cute, can sit in your lap or maybe in the floor underneath the seat in front of you, I love that for you. Hindsight 2020. I would love that for me, but that was not the case. We have a 65-ish pound golden doodle, and we have a 70-pound lab. And so they were riding in cargo to get here. Okay. And this is all about how, like, the requirements that the airline has. So if you remember back, I had said what you do, and I'll just share this screen because I just literally Googled getting my dogs on Alaska Air from the mainland to Hawaii. It brings you up this page on Alaska Air. So make sure if you're flying Delta, American, United, Hawaiian, which Hawaiian and Alaskan are now the same thing, whatever airline you're flying, you'll want to look at their requirements. And if you fly American to LA and then hop a Hawaiian to Hawaii, you want to make sure you know both airlines requirements. So this Tip one, pick an airline that will go door to door. Okay. And then just have that one airline's requirements to look at. That is how we are traveling home. And so that will be a lot easier. But okay, you get to your airline's website, pets, traveling with pets, pets and cargo, however you want to get there. Okay. Be specific in how you Google. This is Alaska's page. I'm not going to go through all the specific details like cost and things like that because those are so variable and subject to change at the drop of a hat. I would just make sure that once you know you're going and you have your flight booked, that you're regularly checking back to make sure that things aren't changing on their website as you're making your travel arrangements. But again, pets in cabin, there's a whole different set of policies and procedures for that, especially around service animals and things like that. That was not what we needed. So I am going to focus today specifically on pets in baggage compartment policies. When you click on that, it will bring you up all of the details that you need to know. Okay, so it'll have the fees. Okay, it will have the dogs that are permitted to travel in cargo and the ones that cannot. Again, brachycephalic dogs, dogs that are aggressive in temperament. There is a these dogs cannot fly with us list, and you can find that here as well. Alaskan does also offer a what's it called? Pet Connect service. So if you can't fly with your dog, but your dog needs to come out, they offer a completely different service that allows for more of that concierge touch, making sure that your dogs get where they need to go. Again, I'm not going to go through that today because that is not something that we needed or will need when we move back. So I've already booked our flights for moving back. I followed the same process I explained to you in video episode 4, and I found the airlines that I wanted, the flights that I wanted for me and the kids. I called Alaska and said, hey, I need to travel with 2 extra large dogs. I have several flight options with me and my kids, and I need to know which of these airlines have space for 2 extra large kennels. Okay. So my first option did not have space, but for 1, because there was already another dog reserved on that flight. So I had to pick a different flight. That's why we have more than 1 option. Okay. So I picked we went with the second option. There's my second best. And that one did have option and space for 2. So when we confirmed that, I then went on the Alaska Air website. I booked me and my kids, got our seat assignments, because I am not one of those people that show up to the airport without a seat assignment. Don't do that. I am the person that shows up. We go through TSA. There is a rhythm to TSA. We get through. We are not the holdup. We get to our gate early. We are sitting there. We're playing on our phones, on our iPads with our earwear that allows for us to hear the ambient noise around and all of the announcements. Okay. And then should our gate change, we're immediately moving. People need to I am making bathroom calls for my kiddos 30 minutes before the boarding time starts, because we're not getting on the plane and needing to go to the bathroom at the same time. Okay. So I am that person to travel with. If that is not your vibe, don't travel with me. I traveled once with Lisa, and Lisa listens to my content, and she's going to love this, but her sweet little fresh out of college self and I showed up to the airport for a business trip once, and she showed up with half a bag, and they took most of her stuff at TSA because it was oversized, like full-size products, and she was very upset about that. But our flight was about to leave in minutes, and she is running through, and she got there and she's like, oh, I feel like I don't have and I was like, I hate that for you. I've been here for 2 hours. Have had multiple cocktails at this point. You will not stress me out. We also will not fly together again, probably. So, but that was a great trip. And Elisa introduced me to so many fun people. And we went ice skating on a frozen pond. And we went and did a hike where I had to put crampons on the bottom of my shoes for the first time with all the snow in Denver. It was a great time. Lisa is a joy. But that Lisa that showed up at the airport that day and me do not travel well together. So, but yeah, thanks for that side quest. That was a fun memory. Okay. I am getting to the airport early. I have my seat assignments. Okay. I book my flight, my kids' flights. We select all the seats. We do all the things. I call Alaska back and say, hey, I booked these flights. Here is our confirmation number, that 6-digit airline code. I need to reserve the dog space on this flight for 2 extra large kennels. And she says, okay, great. I give her the code. She's looking me up. However, she does that on her side. And then she comes back. And the next question she asks me is, how big are my kennels? Okay. So here are the kennel requirements today. Today is April 2nd, 2026. So these are the acceptable carrier sizes for the baggage compartment. And my dogs, because as you can see in these little fun graphics down here, your dog needs to be able to stand up with headroom so that they're not standing up and their head is touching the top of the kennel. They cannot be touching the front and the back of the kennel. They need to be able to turn around. And as you can see, like their head has to be able to go up. And whenever they're laying down, they should not be touching either side of the kennel unless that's something they choose to do. Okay. So make sure you have plenty of space. So for my dogs to have plenty of space, we are in the extra large 500 series kennels. Okay. 40 by 27 by 30, length, width, and height. Okay. 40 by 27 by 30. I tell her that that's what we need. She says, great. She calls, she puts me on hold. She calls someone, they get it reserved. She comes back. She reminds me of what the fee is going to be that I pay at the desk the morning that I'm bringing the dogs to check in for our flight. Great. Thank you so much. She tells me it's reserved and we're done. Okay. We're done till we get to the airport, with the exception of all of the updating our USDA Health Certificate. I did also confirm with, I think it's rabies free. I'm not going to remember the web address or the email address, but I did call the animal quarantine station here on Oahu and asked them, hey, we had all these requirements to get here. Is there any other paperwork I need to bring to go back to the mainland? And they said, really, it's just recommended to have the USDA Health Certificate, but the requirements to get onto the Hawaiian Islands do not apply going back. So she just recommended the USDA Health Certificate from the email. All right. So when I was coming over, if you remember that whole series from episode 5 with Blue Collar Pet Transport, I had wanted to rent these kennels because they're huge. I mean, these are sitting on like a little stand at the end of my bed, but like these kennels are huge. And even side by side, they are huge. They take up a big footprint, right? And I don't want to take them apart because I'll show you, but you replace the things that come with them, which are plastic, with the metal ones. And I'm going to walk you through all of this, what I bought from Amazon. But you replace them with the metal ones. I don't want to take them apart and like stack the bottom and the top, right? They nest and then put the fronts in them. And I don't want to do all that because we're going to be using them in a couple months to go back home. It's just a lot. It's a big footprint. So I had wanted to rent them. They said they could rent them to me. They turned around and lied. They did not have them to rent to me. They were buying new ones that I was going to have to pay for, but could return if I wanted to at my own expense. We will not rehash the last episode. But here's what I did. I went on Amazon because me and Jeff Bezos, I did not get a Christmas card last year. I should have. For how much volume of products between having 2 rental properties, a long-term and a short-term rental, my own stuff, Christmas, birthdays, moving my dogs, moving us, all the crap that came from my house to my house in 2025 from Jeff Bezos and Amazon. Thank you so much, Amazon, for being there. I mean, you pulled through every single time. Okay. But this is what I did. I went on to Amazon, and in the search Amazon, I never have it on pet supplies. It says pet supplies right here because I'd already done the search, so we wouldn't have to do that on real time. But this is the exact crate that I ordered. You'll see it's currently unavailable. It's been unavailable since I bought the 2 that I had last year, okay? Your crate has to have, here's examples. In addition to the size, right? These are the kennel requirements. They need to have pet bowls. So they have to have a food and water dish attached to the inside of the carrier. Food and water. I separated mine so that they wouldn't be side by side and food wouldn't get in the water and vice versa. You do whatever you want to do. But they have to have a food dish and a water dish inside. Bedding. Carrier must be clean with leak-proof and absorbent bedding that is safe and non-toxic to the animal, and it does not shred, okay? So what I did was, and I will show you, I did 2 things. I bought bed, like a padded, because in the bottom of this kennel, and you're not going to be able to see it. Sorry, it's full of dog hair too. You're not going to be able to see it, but it has like this. It has this thing in it that sits down that keeps the dog from sitting on all of the hard plastic things at the bottom. This makes it a flat surface for the dog to be on without all the lumps and the bumps where the wheels and stuff go. So that's in the bottom. Well, that's hard. And my dogs are on this flight for over 5 hours, right? We usually go in and out of Seattle. So there's the Hawaii to Seattle, which is like 5-6 hours. And then there's the Seattle to North Carolina. We usually go into Raleigh, and that's another 4 to 5 hours. So that's a long time for a dog to just be sitting on a flat, hard plastic surface with little holes in it. So I bought this little bedding mat, and it's padded. So you can see kind of like the cushioning. It's not a lot, but it sits in there. And I put the little grippy side down. And then what I did, which this, I don't know, maybe there's a way to tape it into the bottom, because it did get, like, with them turning around, it did kind of get destroyed. But anyway, I put that down. So that way, if there are any accidents during the thing, it's getting caught, hopefully, as much as possible on that puppy pad, and not destroying the kennel on the inside to where I have to clean it, okay? The other thing that they have to have, I don't know if you can see this, handles. So mine, because the kennels are so big, look at this. This is me. This is how big this kennel is. They have to have handles. So there's one here. And there's one back there, so that you can pick up the kennel and move it, okay? Handles. They have to have a handle. And then they have to have an acceptable nut and bolt fastener, okay? For carriers that have multi-piece construction, they have to be secured with nuts and bolts. Carriers, they need to be able to twist, slide. So these that are just like the slide lock, this is not enough. Okay, they have to have the bolted things inside. If this falls on me, the video's over. Okay. There's got to be ventilation. Okay, so that's what this is. The door is ventilation, and then on the back, there's ventilation here. Okay. Try to make that as sturdy as possible. Okay. All right. And then you can read the rest of this. I'm not going to go into all the details here. The purpose of this video is these kennels. The other thing that's great about these kennels is that they come with wheels. 4 wheels on these kennels look like this. Okay. When I ordered from Amazon, one of my crates only came with 3 wheels in the pack, which is super fun. And then they couldn't order another one, right? Because there were none left. So what I ended up doing was I took the kennel that had 4 full wheelies, and I used it on the bottom. And then I had help. Remember all the angels from episode 4? I had people help me stack my kennels on top of each other, which helped me not only with my luggage and the dogs, but it also allowed me to not have to be dragging through the airport, like taking up so much space, right? Like at the airport, there's so many people, there's very limited space to move, especially if you are hightailing it through the airport. And so I felt like me and then these two kennels, one on each side, and me dragging them through, not the best use of my time. And I felt like people were going to get real irritated with me real fast. So, and I'm a people pleaser, also another toxic trait my therapist would love to hear about. But I'm not trying to interfere with other people's lives, right? I'm just trying to get me and my dogs on an airplane to go, oh, don't worry. So anyway, these I put on the bottom, and this is so great. So this kennel specifically, hopefully they will get it back in stock because it's a really great kennel. These little wheels, I don't know if I'll be able to show you this. But underneath here, these little wheels, can you see this? They just literally slide and snap in. And then whenever you're ready to take it out, you push the little thing down and you slide and take them out. Okay, this is great for getting your dogs into the airport, to the gate, and then through TSA. Your dogs cannot have the wheelies on them when they get picked up by cargo and are ready to go get on the plane. So you have to, while your dog is in the kennel, because once they go through TSA, on each of these four corners, they put at the tops of the doors, they put the zip ties so that nothing can come in or go out. We talked about that in our 4th episode. These cannot go. So you need to also make sure that in the bag that you're going to carry onto the plane, you have enough space for 4 caster wheels, which is like 2 handfuls of space. Okay. And they're not squishy. Okay. So you're going to have like space without scratching a laptop or nicking a lipstick, or, you know what I'm saying? You're going to need space in your carry-on for this. All right. But you're going to have a dog laying in here, and at the same time, ask for help. You're going to need to pick up the corner so that you can get underneath and like pull the wheels off. It is not hard. Is it ideal with your butt in the air at the airport on all fours, like trying to find the thing to just pull? It's easy, but you got to get to it, right? Like, it's going to be uncomfortable. Just, it is what it is. And it's so quick, right? Once you get them off, they're off. And then when cargo comes to get your dogs, they're going to bring out a trolley. You're going to put both dogs on the trolley. They both fit side by side on the trolley, and then they take them back. And then that's how they get them on the plane. Okay. So then whenever you get them back from like either the animal quarantine station, or let's say whenever we go back and I pick up my animals from the oversized cargo area at baggage claim, all I'm going to do is, again, ask for help. I'm going to pick up one corner at a time and find where these go back in, and I'm going to put them back in. Okay. So that we can roll our dogs back out to the car. All right. So that's the kennel. The other thing that I did order, so I ordered 2 of these kennels, 1 for each dog. The other thing that I ordered was this large deluxe pet airline travel kit. So this is where I got that breathable pad that you see on the bottom, because my dogs are not puppies and they are not prone to having accidents. Jackson turns 5 this weekend, and Sunset Shimmer will be 10 later this year, but we're not having accidents because of their age and puppy or geriatric dogs. So that's not something I keep on hand, and I'm not buying 1,000 of them. It also comes with these labels. That's what you see here, where you can write your dog's name on it, your phone number, and your home address, right? In case people have questions or need to get in touch with somebody. So it comes with that. It also has this nice bag, and the bag opens on the bottom and zip ties to the top. And the bag is nice because you open it up. It's in a plastic bag, so it keeps it watertight. But then you can fill out all of the information that you need to have on. So if you look back at this, your dogs, wrong mouse, your dogs need to, it's going to talk through here about the way in which you put identifying information on your kennel. I don't remember where exactly it is on here. But anyway, you put identifying information on your kennel. So this has a place for your name, the airport you're leaving from, your home address, who's picking them up from the animal quarantine station, the address that you'll be staying at in Hawaii. Then you have a shipper's declaration, right? So the animal was last offered food and water at 5:30 a.m. on this date. And you'll notice here that your pets, in these instructions that you're going to read, your pet has to be given food or water within a certain amount of time before your planes take off. Okay. So you want to make sure that you attest to that. And then you're going to sign, print your name, and put the date. Okay. And then you're going to stick that in here. And it works just like a Ziploc bag. And you can just, okay. The other thing that this cool thing has is this set. It has the water and food bowl. So that's what you saw that I have in here inside their kennel in case they need something. It had an extra food bag, so I taped that to the top of the kennel so that if they needed food while we were in flight for some reason, they would have food available for them. There is also this cool thing that came with it, and I was like, what the hell is this? This allows somebody to take water. It works like a funnel, okay? So it's like a little rain funnel, and they can put this through the hole here and pour water through here and get water without undoing the TSA zip ties, but making sure that your dog gets water without it spilling everywhere. So smart, so smart. Okay, it does also have the locking bolts that go around the side so that you're not just using the slide lock piece, because that is not acceptable. And then they had extra zip ties. And then they had, you saw on the side of my kennel, the live animal sticker and this side up, so that labels are important. So it tells which side the animals are in, and the fact that there is a live animal in here, and hopefully it's still alive whenever you get to your final destination. So it came with all of those stickers, the live animal sticker, that information sticker, and then, yeah, mine came with the this side. No, I see the Alaska at the top. Alaska put the this side up sticker on there. The other thing that the airline is going to put on there, and I don't want to take it off. Let me see if I can do it this way. They're going to put what looks like the postal carrier thing. If you ever ship something FedEx, and they have like the white plastic thing that you go from the airline, they are going to have you fill out something very similar to what you put in your bag on the front, very similar to this, but it's on their paper with their logo. They're going to attach what looks like a baggage claim sticker that you would put on your luggage. And then they are going to put that it is priority, that somebody pays attention to this. Okay. And then they put the live animal. And then, like I said, Alaska put this side of the sticker. So this, if you did check baggage, because you're dropping your dogs off with cargo and your luggage, this will be the same code that you use for picking up your other luggage. Okay. All right. That's the kennel situation. It was really, in hindsight, the easiest part of the entire thing. But again, because I wasn't planning to buy kennels, and I was just going to rent kennels that people that already do this for a living had and knew what to do. And so getting these, the other thing that was really important, or for like was when, if you remember back to the last video, in the company that I had worked with to try to get my dogs there, which we canceled our relationship before they got to touch my dogs, which I'm so thankful for. But they were going to ship these kennels or kennels similar to the kennel where they're going to pick up my dogs to then drive them to any number of airports, Raleigh, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, who knew? because I never had an itinerary finished. But somebody at the kennel was going to have to put these together. It was not hard, but it was not. It was a good for both of these kennels, and to put the stickers and get all the things and to fill out the form that someone needed to sign. It was for sure going to be more than what this kennel had bargained for. And again, I can't even imagine, in hindsight, having done it myself, imagine handing that off to someone that had likely never done this before. And I just couldn't count on the fact that the company I'd hired was going to do everything they needed to do proactively to be able to get these kennels to a state where they were airline approved and safely able to transport my dogs, right? So, anywho, that is the kennel situation. I did carry extra food on the airplane with me. So, in addition to the bags of food that I taped to each kennel on the top, I had a bag extra of food. So if we got delayed or a flight got canceled or something like that, I had an extra bag of food with me in my carry-on bag. And then, like I said, the airport that we stayed at in Seattle was an Embassy Suites, and they were amazing. Most all Embassy Suites are pet friendly, and they gave us water and made sure my dogs had snacks and all that fun stuff. And then, like I said, going back, I've already booked our flights back where we're going home. We're going to stay there for a minute, and we will not be traveling like this with our dogs again. But I'll be looking to sell my kennels. So if Amazon doesn't have more in stock and you're looking to buy some, reach out to me, leave me a comment, let me know that you're interested in buying them. I'm more than happy to get them to you. And then make sure that you coordinate if you do have an overnight or an extended leg where you're going to have your dog stay at a hotel. In between, make sure that you have solid transportation from the airport to the hotel that has space for these bad boys, because it's not an inconsiderable amount of space. Like, someone has to consider that we have kennels. These kennels that I bought, they were the biggest I could find on Amazon that had the handles. A lot of these big kennels like this don't have the handles on top, which again is required by Alaska. May not be required by all airlines, but it was required by mine. So, but this kennel in and of itself, I think, oh, I'm not even on the kennel. This kennel was 35.8 by 23.8 by 28.5. And so that was well within this 40 by 27 by 30. So again, make sure that your kennel dimensions meet the requirements for the airline. They can be under. Make sure that if they're under, that your dog can stand up and move around the kennel without being confined and constricted, because we need them safe and healthy when they land. But make sure that they fall within these maximum guidelines, because this is the space that the airline has for your dogs. And I would hate for your dog to not be able to fly on a technicality like the size of their kennel. So just make sure that whatever kennel you go with is big enough for your dog to move around and it meets the maximum. Don't go over the maximum requirements of the kennel assignment based on your dog's size. Okay. So yeah, so that's how we got our dogs here in the kennel. And then our kennels, thankfully, our rental has this nice little like alcove over here, which is another door. We just keep it blocked. And for right now, we just have both kennels stacked by this accessory door that is never used. And is it an eyesore? Yes. Is it problematic? No, they just sit there. And then whenever we get home, we'll figure out what to do with them then, but they will be sold. So if you're interested, call me. Okay. And this concludes this last Getting Your Dogs to Hawaii series. So we talked about the process. We talked about what to look for in companies if you choose to partner with somebody to get your dogs to Hawaii, and who not to work with. You know who I'm talking about. And then the kennels. Those are the big three. Okay. In the next episode, I'm going to talk all about prices. A lot of the questions I get is how expensive is stuff really in Hawaii compared with North Carolina, which is where we live full time. And so I'm going to do a whole episode on eating out, grocery stores, clothes, makeup, all that fun stuff. So I'm going to do that in the next episode. I hope you will join me there. I would love for you to like, subscribe, follow this podcast, and we will see you on the flip side. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.